Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Now today I'm doing the 10 cards 1 kit video with the love from Lizi super kit for September 2017. Now this kit is amazing. It did sell out, sorry about that guys, but it is a super kit and I had already cut, scored, and trimmed down my card bases. You get 12 of them in this kit, which is fantastic. Now I've never ever used gilding flakes, and I was so excited when this kit came with a bag of gilding flakes. Nice to be able to try it before you buy it. And these are beautiful silver ones. So I'm just taking a plastic container and placing all of the gilding flakes inside of that container. And then next I'm going over, this is a Zig two-way glue pen. It's a broad tip, and I know Lizi's shop sells the broad tip Nouveau glue pens, and it will work just as well. I'm letting that dry to a tacky state, and then I'm going to take those gilding flakes and I'm going to place them along the edges where the glue is. Now I know with these a little goes a long way, and I was so excited. Okay, now the only sponge I had was this sponge dauber thingy from Martha Stewart. I had it forever, but it worked out perfect. And actually, if you have one of those sponges that you use for your dishes, the back side, the rougher side, would work perfect for this effect too. Just a little tidbit. Okay, and I just rubbed all those flakes in, and look at the outcome. I think it turned out gorgeous. Now I don't even know if I'm doing this right or not, but I like the way it turned out. So I have a few left over, and I'm going to use that for the pattern paper. I'm going to add a little bit of accent to my pattern paper. I'm going to use this paper that has a whole bunch of beautiful lavender and purple flowers on it, and I cut out a panel, and then I'm going to take that glue and do the same thing. I'm just going to daub it just along the outside edges to give a little bit of silver accent to this pattern paper here. So easy to do, and this is fun. I could do a whole video on just doing this. But I need to get one of those jars of the gilding flakes because I really like it. Thank you, Lizi, for including those in the kit. Okay, I'm just rubbing them in, and then look at the outcome. You can embellish, make any paper a specialty paper with gilding flakes. So I thought that was so neat. But it turned out real pretty and shiny, and it's smooth too, which is really neat. Okay, so I have my card base and my pattern paper. Now we need a sentiment. We're just going to set that aside, and I'm going to cut out a panel using the scalloped edge rectangle die here. And then I did cut out a piece of vellum that fit right in the inside of that. That's where we're going to stamp our sentiment. Now I chose the sentiment that says, I love the sentiment, she turned her cans into cans and her dreams into plans. And every sentiment in this stamp set is so encouraging and so fun. I was so happy to see this. I just added some Versamark, and then I'm going to go in with some silver embossing powder. I think the silver adds a touch of elegance, and so especially when you put it against the white background, I just think it looks so pretty. Lovely. Now I'm going to add a glue dot behind that vellum, and I'm going to stick it to my panel there. Now I wasn't worried about it showing up because we're going to end up covering it up. Just going to place that right in the center there. Lovely. Okay, now I'm taking the light gray velvet ribbon that came in the kit, really soft and beautiful gray, and then I'm taking the square buckle. It is a rhinestone ribbon buckle, and it's gorgeous. You just thread it through and it creates a beautiful element to any card. I just wrapped it around and secured it to the back of this panel. Okay, now I'm going to layer each of those panels with foam tape. I'm going to remove the backing off of that double-sided tape. Whenever I add ribbon, just for extra secureness, I add double-sided tape. And I'm just going to use foam tape, double them up there, and place it right in the center of my panel. Now Lizi's kits came with some silver peel-offs, and I have to say, I must have used these peel-offs for, well, almost every card that I made today. I love these. They're so versatile and they're so beautiful, and I'm so having fun with these. That white panel there has some faux stitching on it. I just went over it as a guide and covered that, and it just added so much elegance to it, and I love the way this card turned out. So that's card number 1. Very simple but elegant but beautiful. Okay, now for card number 2, this is a pearlescent cardstock and it's gorgeous. And so I'm using a rectangle die and I'm going to cut out a panel with that. Now on the reverse side, there is like a off-white pearlescent, and so I'm going to cut out a smaller panel using a rectangle die, and that's where I'm going to stamp my sentiment. For this sentiment, I chose This Girl Can. Fun sentiment. I'm just going to use some Versamark in my mini Misty here. I'm going to stamp it, and then using the Emerald City ultra fine embossing powder. This is a Love from Lizi exclusive embossing powder, and it's gorgeous. It has like a pearl tone to it. Beautiful embossing powder. I'm just going to go ahead and heat set that. Love that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and then I did cut out 2 circles using the spot gloss pattern paper. Now, I wanted to use a peacock accent for this card, so just using white cardstock, I cut it out, but I'm going to leave it inside my cardstock just because it's going to be easier to color. Now I'm going to color it in with my Distress Oxide inks. Salty Ocean, Blueprint Sketch, some greens, Twisted Citron, just beautiful colors. And then I did add the a Spectre Noir clear shimmer pen over my peacock, and it just turned out gorgeous. I'm sorry, I had to skip through the coloring just to get through this video because it ran super long. But any Distress Oxide inks would, or even these were just regular Distress inks, but they would work pretty beautifully. I adhered the pearlescent cardstock to my card base. I added the circle, and then I'm just popping up my little peacock with some foam tape, and I'm going to place that in the bottom of the circle there. Lovely. And then I'm going to add some foam tape behind just this part. Now I'm going to use some more of those beautiful peel-offs. I'm going to use a thicker strip for this sentiment piece here. And just a little bit adds so much. Lovely, and I think that's just gorgeous. Just using my tape runner, I'm going to adhere that bottom circle to my card base, and then remove the backing off of this foam tape, and then I'm going to pop it up, place it on my card there. And as I was looking at it, I decided not to use those circles. Now just a little hint, the best thing about the pearlescent cardstock is if you use foam tape, it's easy to remove, and so I got lucky. So I'm just removing those circles, and then using the other pearlescent cardstock, I cut out two of the same size circles, and I'm going to use these instead. I just like the color flow better with this one. And I just went back and replaced everything. Now I'm taking the Nouveau Crystal Drops. These are navy blue. They also came in the kit. I'm going to add a few dots of blue color here and there. And that's it. That's card number 2. I think it's really pretty and fun. Okay, now we're going to move along to card number 3. For card number 3, I'm taking a piece of vellum and I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, "Nevertheless, she persisted." I did use my anti-static powder tool. Otherwise I would have messed up. And then I'm going to go back in with that emerald green embossing powder, and I'm just going to go ahead and heat set that. And then I did trim that vellum down just a little bit, but it's beautiful. We're going to set that aside, and then I'm going to take this spot gloss, or actually this is the pearlescent cardstock. I'm going to trim that down and cut out a panel. This is a beautiful color. It's a mint green, and I'm a lot of shimmer, and I love that. Now I'm going to use this spot gloss pattern paper. Now I decided to go around some of those circle elements and cut it out. I just wanted something a little bit different and so this was a perfect pattern paper for that different card. Yes. I'm just cutting it out, making sure it's the width of my pearlescent cardstock behind it there. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to take a rectangle die, place that over both of those pieces, and then I'm going to die cut them out together. Okay, once I have that done, I'm going to cut out, using that pearlescent paper again, cut out some of those circles. So I have some like wonky circles. I cut out 4 of them. And I kind of went with different colors and different sizes. Okay, now I'm going to add my vellum to that bottom piece that we trimmed. I'm just going to wrap it around the back side and secure it with my tape runner here. And then I did add some more of those silver peel-offs, and I think it looks gorgeous. I'm going to pop that whole thing up with some foam tape, and then I'm going to add that to my panel. Right on the bottom there. And then some of the circles I added dimensional adhesive to, and then some of them I just used my tape runner. And I'm just I wanted them to kind of trail up. It was a different card, but I really like the way that it turned out. I did add some silver stickles. Silver stickles match Lizi's peel-offs beautifully, so I added a few here and there. And then I took a piece of this this pattern paper here. It's like a watercolor card or pattern paper. It's a beautiful color, and I'm adhering that to my card base, and then adding some tape, just adding my center panel there. Very simple, but I think it turned out fun. I think I'm different. Sometimes different's fun. I went in with my, it's going to take me a little while to remember this, but it's my Spectrum Noir shimmer pen over those circles, and that's it. Okay, now for the next card, I'm using this craft cardstock, and I wanted a center piece, so I'm using a rectangle die, and I'm going to place that in the center of my cardstock. Then I'm taking an oval die, and I'm going to place that in the center of my rectangle die. So I'm going to cut out all of that from my card base. I wanted some extra craft cardstock, and so I decided to do that. Next, I have these leaf dies from my stash, and I love this is the canvas paper. I love the greens in this, and so I'm going to cut out some leaves. And then also using a rectangle die, I'm going to cut out a panel. Now I'm going to reuse the reverse side of this for my card. The reverse side of this canvas paper is creamy vanilla colored cardstock. I took some of the slate pearlescent cardstock and cut out a banner, and these are the elements that we have here. Now I'm going to take that canvas cardstock, that vanilla colored, and I'm going to place that on my card base. And I didn't mind that you could see the pattern paper on the inside of the card, because it is beautiful pattern paper, and I think it was a nice surprise when you opened your card up. I'm using, this is Vintage Photo Distress ink, and I went around every element that I have with my Distress Oxide ink. Okay, now next what I'm going to do is take that frame that we had cut out, add some Distress Oxide, or I keep saying Oxide inks, but it's just regular Distress, Vintage Photo Distress ink. I'm going to go around the edges, and I did go around the inside of that circle area too with it. And I'm going to add some score tape behind it, because I'm going to take a piece of lace and secure that behind there. I want to add a lace accent to this card. Using that canvas paper, I cut out a scallop edge, and I'm just going to place that on the side there. I thought it needed a little bit more. And I love craft and lace. I think it looks so beautiful together. I just popped that up with some foam tape and added that to my card base. Now I'm going in with some Memento Rich Cocoa ink. I stamped my sentiment that says, it's a beautiful sentiment that says, she believed she could, so she did. And then I'm going to place my pearlescent cardstock, my little banner I cut out, on my card base. And then I'm going to create a bow using the twine. And then I'm going to stick that on my little oval along with those leaf flourishes. I'm going to stick it underneath there. And I think that looks so pretty. Now Lizi's kit came with these really pretty gray, a sheer, and then a satin little bows, or not bow, well yes, bows and little rosebuds. So I'm using the rosebuds in a cluster on my little panel there. I took my white gel pen and just went around that middle oval there. And then I decided to go in, this is Oyster Gray Nouveau Crystal Drops. I wanted to just kind of tie the gray in with all of the craft paper. So I'm adding a few dots here and there. And I think that card looks so beautiful. Love the way that turned out. And you can't see it there, but you can see the texture of the canvas behind there. The canvas cardstock, which is gorgeous. Okay, for my next card, I'm going to stamp using my Memento ink. I'm going to stamp this floral image that Lizi designed. I'm going to stamp that 6 times. Now, in all of Lizi's paskets, you got a chameleon pen, and there's 4 of them total. And I'm going to use all 4 of these colors to color in those images. Now, they coordinate beautifully. And just to save time, I colored in and cut them out. I fussy cut each one of those out. I have 3 blue and then 3 of the purple flowers. I cut out a panel with the blue pearlescent paper, and that's where we're going to stamp our sentiment. For this sentiment, I chose "You Go Get It." Love that. And I just heat setting it with my heat tool. I used white embossing powder, and I thought that looks great. I think this card turned out just gorgeous. Now I'm taking the Love from Lizi peel-offs. I'm taking a thicker strip and going around the outside edge, and then I used the thinner strip to go around on the inside to kind of create a frame with them. And I love the way this turned out. I'll be doing this again. This looks so pretty. I'm just going to arrange my flowers, just kind of trailing around that bottom corner. Some of them I popped up with dimensional adhesive, and then some of them I just laid flat. But I think that looks gorgeous. Now, for my stash, I have some clear gems, and I thought the center of the flowers would just needed something, so I added the clear gems to each of those flowers. And then, after I got that done, I used 2 different sizes of gems. I'm going to place that on my blue cardstock there. If I can get it in the center. I did pop that panel up with some fun foam. Lovely. Okay, now just for an added touch, I'm going to tie a bow using this ribbon twine and using a glue dot. I'm going to add that just to the bottom part of my flower cluster there. And that's it. That's it for that card. I think it turned out really pretty. You can't really see the ribbon, but in real life you can. It does add something to the card. Okay, now I'm really in love with this peacock, so I decided to color this in again. Now I skipped through the coloring only because it did take a little bit of time, but after I did color it, I used my Distress inks. But I did go over it with my Spectrum Noir shimmer pen, and it gave it a beautiful shine. And I think this is a great way to color in intricate images like this. I just love the way it turned out. Look how gorgeous that is. Just beautiful. Okay, now once we have our element done here, we're going to work on our card base. So I'm taking this pattern paper and this die. The top part of this pattern paper is just the reverse side of this of the paper on the bottom. I just using a rectangle die, and I'm going to cut that out. Now I'm taking a pencil and drawing a line. I'm taking 2 dies from my stash. This says Absolutely, and the bottom one says Fabulous. I'm just going to secure it with some post-it tape. Now this die is actually going to cut out the Absolutely, but leave the bottom part of the cardstock. So it was pretty neat. And then this Fabulous is just going to cut it out. I thought I did add a piece of acetate behind that Fabulous. We're going to make a shaker card with this. So I'm going to adhere this panel to the top, and then I'm going to flip that over here, and I'm going to add some foam tape behind there, creating my shaker window here. Now I'm going to add some of these beautiful sequins, and I wanted to add quite a bit because I didn't want them to move. I wanted them to just shine behind that Fabulous, and I think that looks so fun. I just added my tape runner behind there, and I'm securing it to my card there. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to use my tape runner to add my peacock, and then I did add 3 sequins to the top corner. Very simple card, but I think it's just gorgeous. I wanted the peacock to be the star of this card, so that's it for that one. Okay, now we're going to move along to card number 7. Now, for card number 7, I'm taking this beautiful wreath that Lizi designed, and then I'm going to take the sentiment that says she turned her cans into cans and her dreams into plans. I think that's probably my favorite sentiment ever. I'm going to stamp that using some VersaFine ink. Now, I wanted to know what it would do if I added Lizi's embossing powder over my VersaFine. I didn't want a bright green, although the embossing powder wasn't really bright green, but I wanted a dull down green, so I thought this would work out really nice, and I love the outcome. It wasn't as bold of a green, so I'm just going to go ahead and heat set that, and you can barely tell, but I think it just turned out lovely. So there's my sentiment there. Next, I'm going to take some of my distress inks. I'm going to take my craft mat, and then I'm just going to layer them. I'm going to start off with the Blueprint Sketch and go over the bottom. And then next I went in with Twisted Citron. And then I went in with Salty Ocean. And then I went in with Mowed Lawn. And here it doesn't look like it's blended very well, but I really love the way it turned out. I think the layers just look so pretty. Okay. Now that that's done, I activated it with water. I'm going to take 2 rectangle dies here. And you're probably thinking, what are you doing? But I really wanted my sentiment just to pop. So I'm placing this frame that we cut out on foam tape and placing it on my white card base here. And then I popped in the center of the sentiment. That way the sentiment really stands out, and I really love the way this looks. For this card, I'm going to use the green card base, and then I know I wanted to use this sheer ribbon here, so I chose this pattern paper to go behind it, and I'm just going to place that sheer ribbon right down the center, just one plain strip of it right down the center. I wanted just a little bit of an accent. I'm just going to use my tape runner and secure that sheer ribbon there, and I glued that to my card base. And then I popped up this panel with some foam strips and placed that in the center. Now, if you notice too, I did take my white gel pen and added a few dots here and there, just to make it all flow together really pretty. And then I'm taking, these are the vanilla burlap butterflies. They're 2 different kinds, and I'm using a glue dot and securing them to my card. And then for my stash, I have some gems that I placed in the center of the butterflies. And that's it. That's it for that card. Very pretty. I think that's probably my favorite one. Very pretty. Very soft. Okay, now for card number 8, sorry. Okay, Lizi's kit came with this beautiful sticker sheet, and so I chose this little, am I upside down? I gotta fix that. Oops. I am upside down. Sorry guys, I just realized that. I have to fix that. Okay, anyway, I'm using all 4 markers, the chameleon markers that we got in each kit. Now, the larger flowers I used the purple, and the smaller flowers I used the blue, and then of course the green for the leaves, and then for the little extras I added the gray. But I did use the soft gray and kind of shaded in my banner there. Now for my stash, I have a thank you, a small mini thank you that would fit perfectly inside that banner, and I was so upset because I didn't center it very well, and I had to work with it because you only get one shot with these cards because I only get one sticker. But I think it wasn't so bad. I'm going to trim down a square using the purple pearlescent cardstock, and then I did cut out a square that is slightly smaller with white cardstock. Now I went over both of the white cardstock and the pearlescent with Lizi's peel-offs, and then I'm taking a circle die. The circle die is slightly larger than the circle sticker. I cut that out of that white cardstock. Now I'm going to pop that up with some foam tape and place that right in the center of my pearlescent there. And I think that looks gorgeous. Just beautiful. Take my sticker, and then I'm going to place that right in the center. And then I'm going to use this pattern paper for the back of my card base, and I'm going to trim it down to 5.5 by 4 1/4. Actually, it's 5.5 by 4, but just so it fits on my card base perfectly. I'm using the green card base for this one. Just going to cover the entire surface. Lovely. And just using my glue runner, I'm going to glue my sentiment down right towards the top. And then for a special accent, I'm going to take some of that organza ribbon, and I tied a bow, and just using a glue dot, I added that. I added some gems from my stash for the center of the large purple flowers, and then I'm just adding little accents using the Nouveau crystal drops around my little wreath area. And that's it for that card. I think that's a nice little thank you card. Okay, now for my next card, I'm going to use this really pretty watercolor-ish paper, and I'm going to use both sides of this pattern paper. I cut out a panel with the lighter side, and then for my stash I have some balloon dies. I'm going to cut out 5 balloons with this pattern paper here. And I have 2 different sizes. Now, I did add a piece of craft cardstock that was just a little bit larger behind that panel there, and I'm just going to add that directly to the craft cardstock there. Now, I'm going to use my tape runner and add the balloons. Some of them I popped up with some dimensional adhesive, and then some of them I didn't. But I thought it would be so fun to use Lizi's peel-offs as strings for the balloons. Since they are so moldable and bendable, I thought it'd work perfect. And then in Lizi's kit came with these cute little craft envelopes. I thought it'd be fun to have the balloons popping out of the envelope. And the peel-offs work perfect because you can kind of mold them inside that envelope. And so I'm just going to use my tape runner and add my little craft envelope, place it on there, and then I'm going to arrange my balloons and have all the strings coming out of there. And I think that looks so fun. Love the way that looks. Now at the end of this string it does fray, and it frays into these curly, swirly strings, and I thought it'd be fun to add those strings as ties for the balloons. So I'm just tying little knots around the bottom of the balloons with that frayed end of the string there. And I love the way that looked. I popped that whole panel up with some foam tape and placed it on a purple card base. And then I was getting ready to throw that away, and I thought, you know what, that would be fun sticking out of the center or out of my envelope. So I just tucked it in there, and I think that looks so birthday-ish. We needed a birthday card, so from my stash, I stamped the word Happy Birthday, and then on black cardstock using white embossing powder, I just added that to the bottom, and that's my birthday card. Turned out so fun. So now we're going to move on to our next card. Now for our next card, it's our final card, and I wanted, I love craft with lace. I don't know, something about it. I think it looks so fun. So I cut out, this is actually the pearlescent pattern paper, and I'm using the reverse side that's like a vanilla color. I'm going to glue that over the rectangle that I had cut out. And then, just to make the inside pretty, I decided to take Lizi's peel-offs and go around that frame. That way when you open it up, you have an extra special card inside. But I think that looks gorgeous. Okay, now I'm taking that center piece we cut out, and I'm going to add some double-sided foam tape to the backing there. This is just regular sided, or actually it's not foam tape, it's just regular double-sided tape. Now I'm taking a piece of this lace, and I'm going to wrap that craft paper with the lace. So I'm just going to trim it down and then fold in the ends and cover that entire front of that craft paper with the lace. And I love the way that turned out. It's so pretty, and it gives so much texture, which is so nice. Now for my stash, and using the same pearlescent paper, I just used the reverse side. I stamped the sentiment that says congrats, and I used a gold embossing powder just so it kind of flows together nicely. I'm just going to use some double-sided tape and adhere that on top of the lace. The double-sided tape is like extra strong, so I knew it would adhere to the lace really well. Place that on there, and then I'm taking well, I was gonna pop it up, but not quite yet. I'm taking, this is the medium tone gray velvet ribbon in the kit, and this is the circle ribbon buckle. I'm going to thread that through, and then using a glue dot, I'm going to secure that buckle right next to my congrats. That way I know it doesn't move. And then I'm just going to wrap the ends around that entire panel there. This card was super simple and clean looking, but so gorgeous. Love that. Now I'm going to pop that up, and then I'm going to place that in the center of my card base. I'm just going to add another piece there. I think the foam tape helps secure the lace down too, so I kind of went generous with it. Going to remove the backing, place that right in the center, and then for an added specialness to it, I decided to go in with my Spectrum Noir shimmer pen and go around the edges of the craft. And I think the shimmer pen is gorgeous. Oh my goodness, it so popped on that craft paper. And that's it for that card. So I hope this inspires you and gives you ideas on what to do with Lizi's September kit. I had so much fun with this kit, so many bells and whistles, and so much left over. I hope this gives you so much inspiration. I will include links to Lizi's shop below to where you can check out future kits. She is celebrating her very first birthday. Love her Lizi shop is, and so this was a extra special super kit for all those subscribers and all those who ordered it. If you like this tutorial, give me a thumbs up. Leave comments below, let me know how I'm doing, and if you're new and want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and happy crafting. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.